Hey, what's up? We'll talk Mike here. Let's talk about Absolute Green Lantern issue number 1. Warning, there will be spoilers. So our story starts out with Hal Jordan in the middle of the desert along the road in Nevada, and he is actually getting visions and he's hearing voices that says be without fear. He seems a little paranoid at the moment, just saying, but he ends up getting stopped by this police officer. He has his hand in his pocket and the police stops him and starts to question him. The police officer notices that his hand is in his pocket, and we get to a very intense situation to where the officer draws his gun. Hal's trying to explain to himself, explain to the officer what exactly is going on, and then we cut the black, and we find out there's a hole in the ground, the officer is gone, and Hal is by himself. We end up cutting to a couple hours later, and Hal gets to a diner. The people at the diner are watching a game. We get a news flash, breaking news bulletin that this big Green Lantern monolith has actually crushed a majority of this town, nearby town. And Hal's like, oh, that's Abin Sur. Abin Sur did that. And we cut to 5 days earlier. So we end up cutting to 5 days earlier. Hal ends up meeting up with his friends, John Stewart and Joe Mullen. We find out that Hal is actually a toy collector or toy seller, which is very interesting. It's different from him being a pilot before. And we find out that John is an architect and Joe is or did work for the police department at the town that they're in. And her boss, Guy Gardner, offered her a job back because she ended up going off to Coast City and she is recovering from a divorce recently. And they are talking and we see these bikers roll by really fast. And they roll back and then this giant green barrier basically crushes them, or like just they get splattered onto this green barrier, and we see Abin Sur. After we see all that carnage happen, we cut back to the present where Hal is still in the diner and he is talking about like what exactly happened in that town. And the people are like, oh, you were there when this happened? What's going on? And they start to get scared and nervous. And Hal's like, oh, that's Abin Sur. Abin Sur did that. Abin Sur gave me this. And they're like, what are you talking about? Is it a weapon? What did he give you? And we see what Abin Sur gave Hal Jordan, which is the black hand, which he has a black hand. And they get scared and they start like kind of attacking him. And Hal inadvertently kills all these people and destroys the diner. And Hal wants to kill himself, but who happens to show up but Jo herself as the Green Lantern now. All right, so let's take a look at the internal artwork. Here is your creative team right here. I just have to say, I really actually did enjoy the artwork for this. It definitely kind of has a little bit of a anime slash manga influence, I have to say. Just a tad bit, I feel like, but it's not a bad thing. All the characters are very well drawn. I like the redesigns they have for these characters in this world, at least for John Stewart and Joe and Hal, But yeah, this first issue, the artwork is very amazing. I love the colors that they chose throughout this issue. Very like down to earth, I feel like, in a sense, except for the aliens. But yeah, we definitely do get a little bit of gore in this. Not a lot of action at all, if any. But yeah, it's a very well drawn first issue. There's Abin Sur right there. And then we get into like towards the end of the book where Hal's Kirby Crackle hand is revealed and whatnot. And the entity inside of him is trying to come out. Yeah, very, very good first issue art-wise, I have to say. And this is where we get to see the first appearance of this Absolute Green Lantern. So I do have to say, I was looking forward to reading Absolute Green Lantern, just like all the rest of the Absolute stuff. I am not 100% up on my Green Lantern lore, so I didn't know if Jo Mullen was an actual character within the Green Lantern mythos, or if she was actually a new character. But I really do like this book, even though we don't really get to see a lot of her in this book. We only get to see bits and pieces of her. I do like her character so far. She seems like a fun character. I was really surprised that this issue was very Hal focused, to be honest, because nowhere in the marketing said, "Hey, Hal was gonna be the main character of this first issue," to say the least. But I did thoroughly enjoy this. I like the fact that all these characters seem to already know each other and they seem to have lives and stuff like that. So they're not really being thrown into the situation. Well, they kind of are being thrown into the situation, kind of like we're being thrown into the situation, but we're definitely being drip fed a lot of little tidbits of information throughout this first issue. I liked how they kind of seemed to rework the Green Lantern mythos or backstory a little bit. Abin Sur may or may not be a bad guy. I don't know. Even the Green Lantern powers might work differently, it seems like. But I'm really interested to see where things go from here, and I would like to know a little bit more about our Green Lantern in general, and I would like to see more of her going forward, because I do feel like, to be honest, I feel like I got a little rickrolled in this first issue of this comic book. Just saying. But I'm definitely looking forward to see where this goes and how will impact this story. I'm curious to see if he's going to be a bad guy moving forward or possibly a good guy. Who knows? Because he seems to have a very uncontrollable, like destructive power, and it seems like he is going to be reluctant and probably go head to head with Joe. But I would like to see where things go. I'm just theorizing this at the moment. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I'm Otaku Mike, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Let me know your thoughts on Green Lantern. Like, subscribe, share the video. It helps people find my content if you enjoy my content. I'll see you next time.